because they believe the stereotype marriage sucks.
Mhm.
Marriage can't be good. Nobody's happy. Sadly, this is a big problem. People just lose hope. They don't really think that
Yeah.
it can get better because they believe the stereotype.
All right, thanks for checking out the podcast today. Today we are going to be talking about 18 ways to have an awful marriage.
And the goal is that you do the opposite of these 18 things, right?
Yeah. So this was a parody blog post that we did, obviously being funny. And we posted this a little bit ago, just kind of one of the earlier blogs that we wrote. But the whole point was, and maybe we can get started right away, is we're going to roll through 18 different things which are
guaranteed to give you
destroy
an
your
awful
marriage.
marriage. But things that
Yeah.
people are doing that we've seen them doing.
Cultural challenges that
Mhm.
I think as we go through this, they sound so preposterous and stupid. But that's kind of the point, is that when you phrase it in a funny way or comedic way, it's obvious that it's so ridiculous, but yet we all find ourselves like slipping into these traps all the time. And it really does destroy and erode your marriage foundation.
And as you watch and listen, be on the lookout. If you recognize one of these 18 things that you struggle with, make a little note of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We talk about that
Pay
in the
attention, be
episode.
self-aware.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gonna do number one?
Number one.
I don't want to do it because that used to be my struggle.
Be as selfish as possible. It's all about you anyways, right? And one of the things that I think is crazy here is, like, if you think about our society and just the world with technology right now, we can get packages in just a few hours, customized coffee drinks through drive-through. We can get our groceries delivered. We can stream thousands and thousands of options as we want on TV, rather than when I was a kid and you turned on the TV and you had to watch what was on. So I think the point is, like, we're programmed to be selfish. We're programmed like, I want this and I get this.
You get what you want when you want it, and people want to do that with their marriage, with their partner.
Yeah, it's all about
So
me.
make that a goal and see your marriage destroyed.
Yeah. So like, what would be the opposite of that? Is obviously like
Selfless love. I think the opposite in my mind would be having the mindset of, what does my partner need from me today? How can I contribute to their life versus what can they give me? What can I give to them?
Really serving each other as opposed to selfishness. Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, never say sorry because you didn't do anything wrong anyway. Okay. Being sorry is like for the weak. There's this mindset, I think, in culture today of like, I don't have to apologize. I'm not sorry for anything. Almost like it's their strength. But it's really like a horrendous weakness, in my opinion, because you have this strong personality and I don't have to be sorry, but it's destroying the people around you.
Yeah.
And your relationships are not going to thrive with that mindset. Okay.
Yeah. And I think too, to your point, it's perceived as a sign of weakness. I agree. It's this whole, like, I'm going to be me and be unapologetically myself. I just saw a t-shirt, give no F's. I'll just let you fill in the blank. You all know what I'm talking about. Like, okay. I don't think that's a great way to live your life, is to just not care about anybody but yourself.
Take responsibility.
Right.
When you look at even what Jesus taught, it was to own your stuff, to be sorry, to be repentant. It's like the opposite of what God commands us to do.
And I think it's a sign of strength in a marriage. You're not going to survive if you can't learn to say sorry, and if you can't own your mistakes, or even worse, if you think you don't do anything wrong ever, which is inconceivable to me. But and really quick before we move on from this, I would say, like, if that's you and you're like, well, that's fine and good, but I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not going to apologize.
No reality whatsoever where you're never wrong.
Right.
That's not a real thing. That doesn't exist. And so, just a little tip: when somebody's hurt by you, sure, some of it could be imagined or made up or whatever, but look for your responsibility in it. Is there anything that you can find that you can own, that you can say, okay, yeah, I did do that, and that all goes back to self-awareness, which we'll dig into that at some point. But okay.
So how about number 3? Eliminate God from your relationship. And we see, you see that more than I do with the work you do, but what's your thoughts on that one?
I think often maybe you get like a Christian marriage, and oh, this is something I've seen so often. I'll ask a couple like, how often do you pray together? And they're like, we don't pray together
Yeah, it's
at
not
all.
happening.
Like
Yeah.
people could be married 20 years and they're like, we've prayed together 5 times
Mhm.
in 20 years, but
Right.
they're Christians and they pray on their own and they do all these things on their own. But so it's like God is a part of their personal life, but not their marriage,
Right. Right.
you know,
That's a good point.
so obviously that only applies if you're a Christian and you believe. If not, okay. So number 4, avoid talking about hard things. This is a big deal. I have a totally
Yeah.
disconnected relationship. Don't talk about any hard things. Be totally surface level.
Mhm.
Life is hard enough.
Right.
I talk about the hard
Just
things.
it'll pass. Right. It'll
Yeah.
go away. I think just to offer like a husband's perspective, I think it's obviously easier for guys to do that, to not talk about hard things. I mean, or to keep it, keep it in and not let it out. But
It can go both ways, but yes.
it'll always come out. It'll always impact your behavior. It'll always impact your attitude towards one another, and therefore it impacts your marriage, right?
Yes.
So
100%. Okay.
okay.
Number
Make everything about your kids. The kids are demanding. You don't have enough time for your children and investing in your relationship. So just focus on the needs of the kids. They're a little more needy anyway. The other stuff just isn't a big deal, right? And I think this is
We've seen
pretty
this far too
common.
many times.
Yeah, those of you with kids, like you can easily see. I think this would. I'll let you chime in on this too, but I think this would naturally happen if you're not careful, right? Like if you're not conscious of it.
Oh, they'll take as much of your time as they can get.
Right.
Which is not anything wrong with them. It's just they're needy. And if you don't have proper boundaries, they're going to encroach on
Right.
all the time that you have. So you kind of have to intentionally set aside time for the marriage, for your spouse. It has to be an intentional, planned out thing.
Yeah.
And that could be like bedtimes. We've heard couples who are like, we go to bed the same time as our small children.
Right.
And they're just like, what? When do you talk? When do you connect? I can't wrap my mind around that.
Right.
Because every night when they go to bed, which we spend tons of time with them, putting them to bed and like making that a priority. But then we have alone time and we talk and we hang out and we do fun things. And we connect.
Yep. Yep.
You
And trips, that was depending on when you're listening to this, like that's a episode we've either have released or will release, but taking at least one annual trip a year together of 1 or more nights. We spent it, that was a separate episode, but
go look for that.
yeah, you've gotta have that a part of your marriage. What about this? This sort of piggybacks on what we talked about earlier, but do whatever makes you happy, right? So for you individually as a spouse, life's about your happiness, right? Whatever that may be. And
that's the culture nowadays.
Yeah, it's about you.
You do you, be happy. It's your happiness is a priority. Versus truly what you and I would believe is that glorifying God is our top priority and loving the people he puts in our lives in a selfless way, So if you want your marriage to be terrible, make it about your own happiness. I want to make sure my spouse and my kids are full of happiness and fulfillment. But number 1, I want to please God and do what he wants and obey him and live life for him. That's the key.
Right. Yeah, and I think I would make the case, as I think you would too, is that doing those things, one of the tangent benefits, I'm not going to say it's the goal, but one of the tangent benefits of that is you do have happiness.
Okay, if you really want to be happy and have a great, a terrible marriage, let your past define your relationship. Right? Just keep it going. Just don't let it go. Linger on it. Be a victim.
Yeah.
Live in the past versus picking yourself up, getting healing if you need it from the things of the past, because sometimes that's a necessary thing, and then moving forward with your partner, doing something new. I think a lot of people cling to the past, whether good or bad. It doesn't have to just be bad.
That's a good point.
And it's like they just want to keep it
The way things were.
Yeah, versus like, okay, I'm in this new life with this person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. What we need to create something new together versus living in the past.
Right. And what about, I think you're better at talking about this than I am, but I think we're in a label happy society. And especially young people, are all about like, well, I'm this, I'm that, I have this, I have that. And that's such a limited mindset. That's not a mindset of like experiencing freedom and growth, personal development. It's a mindset of keeping you trapped. So I think to the point we're making about
with the right healing and the right putting in the work and letting God help you, but actually doing your part to heal. You don't have to live in that place. You can move forward and have freedom and have a newness. I think there's even a verse I love. It says, "Forgetting what lies behind, I press on toward the goal, toward the calling of Christ." Like God doesn't call us to live and dwell in the past. He does call us to walk through it with him there, helping us, comforting us, but he wants us to live in the now and moving toward the future, toward the goals that he has for us. So that's just not of God. I hate labels. I hate all that stuff. Yeah.
How about paying attention to marital stereotypes? So this could be if you're listening to all your friends who are either divorced, unhappily married, single, just paying too much attention to social media or to shows that you like to watch. You really put yourself into a mold.
And I think with that too, like with stereotypes, what you believe will become your reality. And so if you believe XYZ about a marriage, then that's what your marriage is going to be.
Right.
So it's really important to break free of those things and to just figure it out together.
Right.
Versus letting what everyone else says define your marriage. Yeah.
And paying too much attention to things that really don't matter. The reality is that we talked about this in a prior episode, but if you really wanted to look at marriage statistics, the outlook's pretty bleak, right? Like it's not a positive story. If you were to go off pure data points on failed marriages, divorce rate, unhappiness, et cetera, you couple that in with like some personal examples from your friends, your neighbors, your work coworkers, social media, you just can't listen to that. You have to drown it out, and you have to look at like, okay, I'm going to study those that are doing it well. And think about it that way.
Yeah, because as a society, well, just people in general, I think that not everyone, there's some people that are very positive, but for a lot of people, the negative will stand out and they'll just focus on the negative examples and the negative stereotypes versus saying, okay, let's focus on, like you said, the people who've done it well and who are thriving and who are happy and who've figured this thing out, and let's follow that example. So stop focusing on the negative. Stop letting that be your reality and say, okay, I'm gonna believe for something better, because first of all, God says that it can be better. His expectations are high and they're achievable.
Not to have a bad marriage. Yeah.
Exactly.
What about the next one?
Repeat the mistakes you've observed or that you've already Yeah. I think continuing to do things the same will get you the same result. That's a well-known fact, right?
Yeah.
Or if, hey, your parents did this and then now you're doing this, it's going to result in the same bad thing that you saw. So stop doing it.
And it's probably worth repeating. You mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, but the obvious undertone, hopefully, is that do the opposite of what we're saying. That's the pun here. Hopefully you're getting that. So I think
learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your mistakes.
Like what I think
move forward. Don't repeat the mistakes that you've seen others make. So that's really the obvious. All right, I'll take the next one because this is a touchy subject. I think like data wise, it affects men more than women, but I know that that's changed a little bit, but you can comment on this too. Watch porn without remorse. If it makes you feel good, do it. Everyone does it anyway, right? And what's the problem with lusting after someone not your spouse? I feel like this one's pretty obvious. It should be. I think within Christian circles and Christian marriages, hopefully the consensus is uniform on this in terms of like the damage. I would actually argue even a lot of research has come out in recent years outside of the Christian environment on the damage that this does to the individual. It's consuming
the individual's brain into all of their relationships. It's highly destructive, and that's not just a Christian biblical idea.
Accurate.
That's obviously there, and everything God says has research and science to back it up, in my opinion. And not everyone would agree with that, but he says don't do XYZ for a reason, because it's causes harm and damages you. He's being protective. And so with this topic, research very much backs up what the Bible teaches about it.
Yeah.
It's destructive. and it destroys your marriage. It'll totally ruin your marriage. It just will destroy it. So
That's
yeah.
it does. Yep.
And on like jumping to the next one, if you really want things to go badly, and this maybe is the opposite, where it's even more of a problem with Christian marriages, unfortunately, but make sex about your pleasure only. And I think this is like, no offense, but mostly this is a male issue where the church tells women, make sure you take care of your husband and meet his needs and pleasure him so that he doesn't go cheat on you or whatever.
Stray.
And
Yeah, whatever.
we are going to talk about that in a whole nother episode fully, but
we're going to make lots of episodes on this topic.
Need to make one about a lot of these things, but sex is about mutual pleasure and mutual enjoyment within the marriage. That is key. It should not be just about you. It should be two people focused on pleasing one another and enjoying one another and saying, okay, I want this to be the best for him. I want this to be the best for her. And you do that together. And it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I would, I agree with everything you said. I would add like two things, or maybe expand on two things. There's the lie that men enjoy sex more than women, which has been debunked like by countless research. That's effectively not true.
Body to relate to that.
Right. Exactly your point, that the Bible does not back that up either. If you read every verse and chapter there is to be written about sex and intimacy in marriage, it's never only written for men or telling women what to do. I think this gets horribly wrong. And I would say, men, if you're like, hear me when I say this, like, try flip-flopping the script here and make sex about your wife. I promise you it'll work out well for both of you.
Yeah. Mutual.
Yes.
Enjoyable. Pleasure.
Yep.
Never obligation.
Mm-hmm.
That's so destructive and can become abusive too. That's for another time. Stop dating. Don't date anymore. Just be mundane and boring. That won't hurt anything.
Right. I think this is a common problem, especially as you get older and your schedules get busier. I mean, we're kind of entering that season too. Like, we have a lot going on and it is hard. And I would even admit to everybody, like, we don't always do a good job of this ourselves. I think we make time for one-on-one time alone in the house.
Yeah, for sure.
But going out on dates, it's difficult. It's expensive to get a babysitter. It's hard to plan it, but you got to do it.
I think that going out on dates is very important. That can be hard. You should still prioritize it, but maybe the idea here would be like quality, special time outside of your normal routine. That's essentially like what a date is, right?
Yeah.
So I think of like when you and I during the summer often put the kids to bed and we go swimming at night, and it's so much fun. Or we, things like that are not the norm. It's exciting. It kills boredom. It's fun.
Yeah. Good.
But that's unique to each couple. You got to figure out, what does that look like? What are dates that we like to do?
Yeah.
Or if your kids are in school and you have a lunch break, this is easier for some couples than it is for others. Go on a lunch date. You and I do that a lot.
Right. I almost forget that that's a date, but you're right. It is.
We've played top golf. We've gone kayaking. Like on days
Gone
like
to
they're at
lunch,
school,
gotten
we have
coffee.
days off, like a day off, but they're at school, which is rare, but it happens.
Sure.
So like, you just have to, I got to be intentional and take advantage of opportunity and thinking about it, planning.
Right.
Because mundane, that's where you're just thoughtless. You know, when you're in the mundane and the routine, you're not thinking outside of that. So just be aware,
good point.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this we can hit this one pretty quick because I think we kind of covered this a little bit already. So be heavily influenced by social media. I mean, influencers, aren't they like the most honest types of people? Besides, wouldn't you want to take advice from a 23-year-old single person on the topic of why marriage is bad?
Or a 19-year-old who's been married for 6 months.
Right. Yeah. So
your point is the single people who look like trash marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be very careful. I don't want to put it down because there's a lot of really valuable content that's out there. So I'm not putting this down, but I do think some of the viral influencer culture has been largely toxic, I would say. And then you attach to stereotypes like we talked about earlier, and it can just really spiral.
Well, and I think that more so, maybe it's like, instead of don't be influenced by social media, it's be cautious about who you are influenced by.
Yeah.
Because there's great stuff out there I mean, we're doing this podcast because we
Mhm.
feel like we have something good to offer our listeners. Technically, you could call it influencing. But so check us out. Make sure you feel like we're legit and somebody you want to listen to. Do that
Yeah.
with everybody that you listen to.
Correct.
I've had, especially like religious, I'll just say, there's been lots of people over the years that I'm like, I don't feel good about listening to this person anymore. I feel like things they're talking about are not. And unfortunately, in the Christian realm, there's going to be a lot of stuff on marriage that I disagree with.
Mhm.
That's not really biblical. That heavily favors male dominance and like the wife being a good little obedient like servant in a way. So I don't listen to that stuff. You know, I look at the Word of God and then good
Yep.
stuff that I feel like is backed up by Scripture. So you just have to be careful.
And we'll do that as a topic. That's a good.
Yes.
That's a great topic
We
about like
definitely will.
roles, and it's super controversial, but like gender roles within marriage. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Don't do anything you don't feel like doing. This kind of goes a little bit maybe with the selfishness thing, but
Yeah.
do what makes you feel good. Not the things you don't feel like doing, and your spouse can pick up the slack, right? So you're each adults. You can do what you want. Yes, that's true. You can do what you each want, but you're gonna pay the price.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So only see a counselor as a last resort.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is a big one for me because of what I do. I will say this. When I've had clients come in who are like, especially couples, one of them is out the door. One of them is like, the damage has been done.
Good point.
And they're just coming to say that they did. That's highly unsuccessful. It can happen. It can work, but it's mostly unsuccessful in general. And I've heard that from other counselors and therapists that I'm close to. So if you go in when it's like, okay, some people even just go just to make sure they're doing well and that they're on track. That's the best because you can get help in those little areas and things aren't too far gone. There's no resentment or bitterness, no forgiveness or even hatred I've seen.
Yeah.
So don't make it a last resort. If you feel like things are going downhill, before you get to the bottom of the hill, you're kind of just starting to creep down. Go make a call, ask friends, because it is really important that you find the right person because there's a lot of bad counselors out there. Believe me, I've heard all the stories about that. So ask people you know, do your research, try a few different counselors. It's going to make a big difference.
Well, don't you think too that
you go early enough?
Sure. And I'm not educated on this, obviously, like you are, but don't you think people often think of marriage counseling as like, oh, my husband had an affair, so we need to work through it with a counselor, or God forbid, like something happens with one kid and then they're not good together. And so then they're going to, it's never rare.
Hard times are not, they're not.
It's to work through damage, not to, I think you hit it better.
It doesn't have to be that way.
I'll take the next one because I think this is a big one. We could spend a lot of time on this and probably make this its own episode sometime, but try to change your partner. If you want to have an awful marriage, try to change your partner. I think a lot of people get into marriage hoping, or maybe even with ideas of they're so good. They're like a 9 out of 10, but I know all the things that are going to get them to a 10 in my mind, right? And then you enter the marriage.
Judgmental.
Yeah, you enter the marriage thinking you're going to change them. First of all, I would say, well, how's that working for you? But second of all, like
I'll say this.
What's your thought?
The person you're marrying, just assume that this is who they are and they're not going to change. Would you still marry them?
Yeah.
Would you still walk down the aisle and say, I do? And obviously that's irrelevant if you're already married, but it's like you married this person.
Knowing all the things you know.
Now, here's something I would say. If your partner has things that should change, because we all do, there's behaviors, there's habits. The more important thing is, do they have a willingness to change?
Yeah.
But you can't change them. They have to be willing to change themselves. Right. And it's only going to make you more bitter and angry toward the things in them that you want to change, the more you try to change it.
So
it doesn't really work.
What do you think? What's the message instead?
I would say if there's things that are really upsetting and bothering you, it's good to verbalize it, to share. Here's the things I'm not okay with that are upsetting to me. And then you kind of go from there.
Right.
Versus a lot of people will try to manipulate and control and do certain things to get the spouse to change versus just being direct and open and honest about, hey, here's some things that are
this bothers me that you do.
That's key.
That's different.
And then another thing is, if it's just personality, you're kind of out of luck. So if it's like, my partner's an introvert and I'm very social, and
A great example.
they
Yeah.
like, you married an introvert, and
Right.
maybe you tell them, hey, I'm more social and I'd like to go out more. And they say, okay, we can do that. But then maybe you're mad that they're not having as good of a time as you. Well, they just might not enjoy that
Right.
as much
Yeah.
as you. So
Yeah.
obviously that you don't want them to go out with you because they're trying to appease you and then be miserable.
Mhm.
Like, that's selfish.
Mhm.
But
Sets
it's
you up
like
for
you
failure.
married someone who's not very social. You
Right.
gotta you need to take responsibility for that choice you made
Mhm.
and accept it.
Yeah.
So there's like, it's kind of a
Give and take.
it's a balance. So be direct, be honest, share the things that are bothering you
Right.
in a way that's non-judgmental, that's gentle.
Mhm.
Don't be critical and harsh, because that never accomplishes change. And I think some people try to bully their partner into changing by picking on them and criticizing them. Almost like if I criticize and bully enough,
They'll change. Well, I think a good like transition to the next one is like, speaking of changes, what about the person that's trying to change their spouse? What about you needing to change? Because
yeah, look at
we all need to
yourself.
change.
With
So I think the
that.
next one is self-awareness. Like, who needs it? It's overrated. That'd be number 17, by the way, of how to have an awful marriage. And I think a lot of self-awareness is completely lost nowadays. First of all,
Top priority in our
we talked
culture.
about apologizing. We talked about selfishness. Like, this sort of all, we talked
Yeah.
about change. This sort of all wraps into a lack of self-awareness, I would argue. So to kind of bridge the two things together, we just talked about, if you're constantly trying to change your partner, you're constantly being judgmental or critical, like you mentioned, are you looking in the mirror? Are you shining a light back on yourself? Are you thinking about, let me think about what I'm doing? And I've been trying to do this even as a dad constantly. I mean, fatherhood, those of you that know it, and motherhood, of course, but like, it's a real gut check and a humbling
If you let it
experience
be,
if you let it be,
then that's what
because
you
your
should
kids
do.
will, their expressions, the way they respond, the way they say things back to you will really give you a good gut check of, okay,
And there is so much power.
Mhm.
Just right there is an example of how powerful this is in marriage. Like, for children, for your spouse, when a concern is brought and you respond by saying, hey, you're right, I should work on that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What that does for a child, oh my gosh, like,
Mhm.
that's one of the number one things I hear from kids with their parents is like, they never say sorry. And when I share my feelings, they always invalidate.
Yeah.
Tell me, no, you're wrong. I didn't do
You
that.
miss
That's
me.
true. It's
Yeah.
devastating. And so thinking about how that is in a marriage.
I mean, there's no room for a lack of self-awareness in marriage. I think that's the point here. Why don't you take, so number 18, the last one, then we'll wrap up here kind of.
Okay, so this next one kind of ties into the stereotypes, right? Believe your marriage won't get better. And sadly, this is a big problem. People just lose hope. They don't really think that it can get better because they believe the stereotype, marriage sucks.
Mhm.
Marriage can't be good. Nobody's happy. There's like a lot of
It
beliefs
compounds.
and stereotypes, I think, that lead to this one. But and again, whose marriages are you looking at? Whose marriages are you trying to emulate and follow? Who are you getting advice from?
Right.
If you call your friend who hates her marriage every time
Don't
you
be
have a struggle,
surprised when,
you're gonna hang up thinking nothing's ever gonna get better.
right.
So find some people who actually are happy, who have made marriage work, and talk to those people. Get
Mhm.
advice and wisdom from those people
Mhm. Mhm.
instead. Because marriage can be great if you are willing to fight for it and put in the right effort and do the work that is required.
Right.
So
It's never too late.
yeah,
It's
leave
never
it.
impossible
Leave
to get
those
better.
things.
It's never as good as it can be. And we talked about this in a previous episode too. Like, even if you're good, even if your marriage is good, okay, you got to put in work to stay good.
Yeah.
And you got to keep
Flat.
trying to get better. I mean, if your goal is to have a long marriage with your spouse, which
Everybody's goal
everyone should
is from
aspire
day
to.
one. That's what they want.
Yeah,
right?
no one goes into it thinking, oh, this might last a few years. That's,
They might be afraid, but they don't.
yeah. So absolutely, this, to wrap up here, we're big on taking action. Those of you that have listened to other episodes, you know that. So we're never going to just, hey, hope that was entertaining, have a great day.
Because information without action is kind of useless.
Yeah. So we gave you 18 ways to have an awful marriage. Think back on the ones that really resonated with you the most. Why or why not? And then talk about it with your spouse. Like, if you feel comfortable, maybe you need to just spend some time alone with it if they're personally held beliefs, but share the episode with your partner if you didn't listen to it together. Talk about it together maybe, and then like really unpack that, and you'll obviously get to
Unpack it, own it, just accept it and say, what do I need to do about this?
Yeah.
And then do it.
Right.
Do what you need to do. Yeah.
So thanks for listening to the episode this week. We'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you subscribe for upcoming notifications on episodes.
Yeah.
Have a
And
good day.
comment any questions or thoughts you have. We'd love to hear from you.